Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Cory, and co-host Coby Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Cory.
This is Coby Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Coby, there is so much going on. Last week we had to do a retake of the best of because we were very busy. We're doing so many different things. But one of the things I really want to jump right into because it affected here in Southbridge, we did have 2 shootings over the last week and a half. And I guess as we were talking off camera, you said you had shared that it's not high as it relates to the shootings.
Correct.
But I'm very concerned about some of the things that are going on, and especially in Southbridge. Last Friday, there was a shooting right here in this community while my children was in here, and we have other daycare centers here. We have elderly people here who are going to just doing their regular doing. What do you know about that one where the man was shot and killed right here in Southbridge?
Yeah. So again, the sad thing is things are starting to ramp up. The weather is getting warmer. People are more outside. And unfortunately, that usually we see a trend of more gun violence. We have had a very low rate so far, but again, one shooting is one too many, right? And last Friday, there was a shooting around 2:38 p.m. Where a 24-year-old man, he ended up passing away, was shot over here on Bradford Street, Friday afternoon again. He was transported to the hospital in critical conditions, but unfortunately, he did pass away from his injuries. The police were able to identify the victim, but they are still looking for who was the actual shooter in this incident here. So again, they have put out a number, 2 numbers actually. If you have any information, 302-576-3649, or you can call Delaware Crime Stoppers, which is the 800-TIP-3333 number.
And before we talk about the next shooting, I just want to take a moment for those of you who watch us every week. And I'm concerned. We have spent 8 years almost with an administration who, in my opinion, could care less about the murders and the shootings that happened in the city. Just wanted to keep it down where no one would know about it. We're now in an administration where I see that there's a concerted effort to try to do what is right, to try to give us information, to try to solve a lot of the crimes that are going on. So I had a conversation with one of the officers who does a lot of the lab work or the tech work. And he came in and we had a conversation, and he's saying he wants to help the community. Those of you who may be interested in sharing your home videos, they won't come to your house. They won't knock on your door. No one will see them coming in and out of your house. Many of us have these, what do you call them, ring cameras?
Ring cameras.
You have, most people now, that's a part of their housing, their alarm system or their doorbell system. You can just call this number that I'm going to give you right now. It's 302-893-6632. It's going to be on your screen. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it very slowly. 302-893-6632. This is the tech who will be able to send you a link, a Dropbox, or whatever you need in order that you can just upload and send it, and you will stay anonymous. You will not be noted. No one will be calling you. No one will be coming to your house. We have to save our community. We now have an administration that wants to work with us, who want to stop the shooting, the murders, and not just for publicity purposes, but because humanity matters. I need you to join in. It's not about snitching. It's about saving our young people. It's somebody else's demise today, but it could be yours tomorrow. So I wanted to take this moment to just pause and say, listen, let's take a breather And let's go ahead and send this information. Call that number. They will send you a private Dropbox or link that you can upload your videos to, so no one will have to come to your house. You can share the information. And the more crime that we get solved, the better our community will be, the more safe our community will be. I had the conversation with Detective Lebeck, Officer Lebeck, and he has certainly assured me that no one will be identified, where they got the tape from, where things come from, because all we're trying to do is solve some of these cases, and make sure that our community is safe. That's our goal, and that's our desire. Brother Coby, there was also another shooting that happened. A young woman was shot last Friday as well.
Yeah, on North Walnut Street. She was shot Friday morning around 8:09 a.m. She was transported to the hospital in stable condition. She was a 27-year-old victim. There has not been official release on the information yet, but I was told that someone said that they found the suspect who did the shooting.
Yeah, I did see that. Matter of fact, there was an update on that, and it was a 23-year-old gentleman. Last name is Barkley. Was identified as shooting the 27-year-old young lady. So they did find somebody, and again, that was through them going through cameras, and it was able to identify. So I did see the update on that, and I'm glad they found the person, and I hope that if this person is guilty of this, that this person certainly served the time.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that they found him in such a quick timeline, less than 48 hours. So again, this is a good step. Now, hopefully they also find the person who shot the 24-year-old as well.
And if people start sending those videos in, they will. Because what's happening is people are doing stuff in broad daylight, even though sometimes their cars are tinted and things of that nature. We can also go off the cars. All video matter. We want to help the Wilmington Police Department to get our safe and keep our city, get our city and keep our city safe. That's going to be very much critical and important as we are moving forward. Because we're supporting the police because that's what keeps us safe. But we're not supporting cover-up. And that's what has happened in the last 4 years. It's been cover-up, keep it quiet. We don't want people to think that our city is not safe. But in actuality, it can be safe if we all work together. Something else happened, and before I go into the other topics we want to talk about as it relates to our city and state, is that a man was arrested for stabbing someone. So we moved from the gun to now the stabbing. Do you know anything about that one on last Thursday?
Yeah, so a man the police arrived on scene. They found a 26-year-old man wounded from a stabbing in the 2700 block of North Washington Street Thursday morning around 8:41 a.m. He was transported to the hospital right down the street in stable condition. They later was able to identify and arrest 58-year-old Alan Woods. And they were able to take him into custody without incident, according to the police. He was charged with second-degree assault and possession of a deadly weapon during a felony. He has been arraigned, and I believe the bail is $22,000. So again, they were able to find who did the stabbing very quick. It left, a young man he's in stable condition, but still left him harmed. So again, I'm glad that they were able to find who committed this crime so quick.
And I hope that we can get some more information on what this was for. Now, I'm not saying there's no justification for doing violence to anyone.
Right.
But I do want to make sure that sometimes when people are protecting their own selves, that is also noted. If that is the case, we don't know that. And I don't want to report that was the case. But there's a 26-year-old young man who was wounded and a 58-year-old man who did the wounding. So we'll look into it and we'll try to get back to the people. But I do want to report that. And again, the police was able to find out, and things are happening in a rapid pace. I'm going to have to bring Captain what is he? The captain or
Sector captain?
No, the person who is in charge of the police department for Wilmington.
Chief.
The chief. I'm going to have to,
Campos.
and I know him well, so it's a shame, but we may have to bring him back on so that we'll be able to talk with him about some of the efforts that he's doing, because I think he's doing a good job right now. I think his hands is untied.
Yes.
I really do. I don't know, he better be too political to even say that, but I think his hands is untied, and because his hands is untied, I think that is really helping our department. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, can we just shift over to beyond Trump, because he's the reason for all of this. But now the food bank is in a scramble.
Yes.
Trying to make sure they can continue to fulfill the calendar. One of their stops is here at Zion Fair to help the community, but they are in they had to scramble when the cancellation of the federal shipments had come in. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so last month, the Department of Agriculture announced that they will no longer be helping fund shipments to local food banks. Delaware, of course, is one of the ones that are being impacted. And this goes a part of the DOGE federal cuts, right? But I want to point something out. There was 19 truckloads, 18-wheelers of food on its way to Delaware that the Department of Agriculture said, stop, turn around, come back. Now that food's just sitting in a huge warehouse down there. So it's not saving us any money. This food was already out for delivery for a lot of different food banks, including Delaware.
Now hold your thought. Now, when the judge told Trump people to stop the plane, turn it around, and not do their illegal activity with the migrants, they didn't pay no attention to that.
Exactly.
But when it comes down to feeding those who are in desperate need in our country and not causing any money, because the food was coming here. It was not like it's saving any money. Now they're sitting there doing nothing. How come it was stopped? I just don't understand that, Coby.
Because this administration has no heart whatsoever, and they're actually hurting more of their base than
we're finding that out.
Base.
Yes.
But this food is urgently needed for all their programs. And just 2 months ago, we had the food bank come in front of my committee to talk about the services that they offer to the city of Wilmington. So I want to really highlight that real quick about some of their programs that are all being impacted right now. This isn't just a one-off thing. This isn't just, they're not in the city of Wilmington no more, so Wilmington's not impacted. Wilmington is greatly impacted by this. And they're impacted by this because of the fact they moved out Newark because they needed just more space. That's why they moved out Newark. But the how we're impacted here is a few different ways. So one, we had Chad Robinson come in, who is their external VP of External Affairs. And he was able to break down, they have the senior feeding program where they deliver food to our seniors in a lot of these different high rises throughout the city of Wilmington. They have community partners where it's strategically in neighborhoods where the need is the most, right? So these are individual nonprofits, churches, whatsoever, who, again, they are the host location, right? But they help drive out the volunteers so that the food can get out into the community. This is why it's so critical. All these are being put on hold right now because they don't even know if they have enough inventory to be able to meet the demand of their busy schedules. So again, when dealing with this, right, we have a few options here, right? We can either just, have Twitter fingers, or we can all come together as a community and help the food bank out. Host a food drive at your church, at your school, sorority, fraternity, any group you're a part of, civic association, anything. The community is really in need of us coming together. And I want to point out, this is nothing new, right? We've been here before. We had the Black Panthers before who had to come and take care of our own community. It's time for us to come together and work together. But these cuts they're hurting people across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say the food bank has seen some a surge in new donors financially, but at the end of the day, prices are still going up as well too.
And will
so
continue.
they're going to need a lot of support. And again, with prices going up in the stores as well too, that means they're going to see more visitors to their facilities as well too, and more people in need.
And one of the things I'm planning to do this week, because we are one of the stops that they have, is that we're going to talk to our board about the fact that we need to do a little bit more now. Mm-hmm. Now that beyond just getting the volunteers and donating the small amounts that we have donated where they do the mass part, we're trying to pay off our church. But at the end of the day, why pay off a church when we got people who are hungry? Yeah. Our whole goal is to serve humanity. And I hope for those of you who are watching, whether you be pastors, whether you be fraternity, sorority leaders, whether you be civic leaders, wherever you are, it's time to now step up. We have to take care of each other. We know the government have been, and that's one of the roles I think the government has, is to also take care of its citizens. But I think when the government failed to do it, and when we elect a Donald Trump in, who really can care less about humanity, who don't know what it is like to be hungry, don't know what it's like to be in need, they can care less. We have to now step up until we get through this season. And right now, I'm hoping, and I'm making a plea to all of you who can help, let's try to find a way, get with the food bank. I'm not telling you to send anything to Zion Fair. I'm asking that you would just do what you need to do, because I'm going to make sure that our truck still gets delivered, even if we got to be the one who's delivering the food to the people, because the people come and I see the cars. I mean, we're serving a lot of families, Coby, and I mean, it's a lot of families who come and they are in need of this help, this assistance. And what we got to make sure we're doing is providing it and not allowing Trump and the Doge and whatever else to interrupt what we are trying to do to keep people fed while we get through this crisis. And listen, I don't want to say this, but I think a recession is on the way, because what he's doing with the tariffs, and I know just something you're going to talk about in your time today, what he's doing with the tariffs is really, it's reckless. It's reckless. It's not even thoughtful, but we're going to make sure that we bring that to the front, and that I also put our resources where our mouths are too, because I don't want to be just talking about it and we're not doing nothing. We got to shut ours down and things of that nature. We just don't want that to happen. So that's the best we have on the food bank. And for those of you who are scheduled to come to the Zion Fair one on next Friday, it is still happening. It is still happening one way or another. So still if you've registered to come to that one, still show up, and we will make sure that we provide something, if not more than what we are required to do. One last thing, Coby, before we go off of my segment of the show, is I saw something interesting, and you guilty of one of the votes of no.
Yes.
Help us, without your biased spin on it at first, just help the people to understand the city council has a call to do a take-home study of police cars, and they want an analysis done.
Yes.
Tell the people what that is about first, and then I got some questions I probably want to ask and try to sift through this.
Yeah. So there was a resolution presented by Councilman James Spadola, and pretty much what it's saying is he talked to the FOP, and that he heard that the FOP thinks that they would be able to recruit more Wilmington police officers, more people to be Wilmington police officers, if on day one, once you become an officer, you're able to get take-home vehicles. Now, of course, it wouldn't be fair to the people who've put in time on the police department if rookies got take-home vehicles and they didn't. So this would be a study to look at how much it will cost the city to do a full take-home program for all uniformed members of the police department. As of right now, as he stated, only the higher ups, the chief, the captains, have take-home vehicles. I know personally there's a ton of officers who have take-home vehicles. I see them in my neighborhood.
I see them in my neighborhood, and I don't live here.
And you live in Bear.
Yeah, I see them.
So we see them all around.
Matter of fact, some of them be out racing me trying to get to Wilmington, but go ahead.
But according to the sponsor of this resolution, there is no take-home program as of right now. So again, they want to see how we can expand the take-home program from just the higher ups to all uniform members.
Now, do they understand that there's a tariff that's happening right now where the police cars are going to cost way more money? Do you know how many police officers we have in the city of Wilmington?
Our authorized strength, I believe, is 345.
So if we have 345 officers, that means each of those officers at the startup will be just those who recruited. But you can hear the outcry, how come?
It would be, we would have to get all the cars for all the officers at the same time, including that recruit class.
So let's just do the math. If we're already struggling as a city financially,
yes,
how could we do 345 vehicles? How many vehicles do we have about now?
That is a good question. I asked that last night. No one could answer.
Oh.
I do know we have enough for a shift. So we have at least 70 vehicles already.
So you're going to triple, if not quadruple,
yes,
the amount of cars that you would need. Matter of fact, that you would need. And they think this is a good recruiting effort. 7 of you said, yes, let's just vote for this. But then let's get a little deeper into the analysis. How much more can we pay someone where we won't have to get into this? Because I do agree, in the city, to see a police car parked outside, that could be a deterrent, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a deterrent up in Bear to see a Wilmington police officer. So maybe we can get rid of all of those who don't live in the city. Maybe for those who live in the city, that can help out. Maybe that could be the rule.
Yeah.
You live in the city, we'll give you a car. Maybe that'll help recruiting.
So, as I stated last night, I knew I was in the minority in the vote. And I said, if this goes through and we do implement this program, it should only be for Wilmington residents who are police officers. There was a WDEL article that came out after the meeting that also stated that in Newcastle County Police, they do allow officers to take home their vehicle. They just have to park it at a county-owned site. If they're going into Kent County or somewhere else out of state, it just has to be parked overnight in a county at a county facility, so they can drive it to the line and then leave it there. Wilmington's not that big, and we don't own that much property. So again, I think that their model wouldn't necessarily work for the city of Wilmington, but that's how they get around
what is the
it.
model the state uses? I know several of the state police officers do have cars.
Yes. So, of course, you can go anywhere in the state with your car. Mm-hmm. When it goes to out of state, I do not know. Mm-hmm. And I have not talked to the superintendent of the state police on that one.
But I think in order for you to be a state police, you have to be a state resident.
Yes.
So they probably will keep it in the state.
Yeah.
But I see them at the laundromat and everything else. I guess all that's good. Because when you walk into Dunkin' Donuts and see 7 police cars, that makes you feel safe. So I'm not going to argue that part. But I am concerned about the finances of it. And if it means giving them a raise, giving them a better package deal, that wouldn't cost as much. I mean, if we're paying $60,000, $70,000 per vehicle, you do that times 345. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and what I said last night, in the debate on this, right, Councilman Hackett talked about, or is this feasible, or is it that the officers want more take-home?
I think I saw that.
You had the former finance chair, Councilman Johnson, bring up when they first talked about a small expansion, it would be only $1 million. Doing it department-wide is going to be more than $1 million. Mm-hmm. You had other individuals ask a lot of good questions. And again, it was good debate. You had Councilwoman Oliver also make the Oprah reference. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Why doesn't all council get a car? Why doesn't all mayor's department get a car, right? Mm-hmm. So that was a nice little chuckle. But my point was our fiscal responsibility to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
For every $400,000 of dollars that we put out, that's 1% additional tax on our residents who are already being taxed too much. The reassessments did not go our way, which means people in Black and brown communities in Wilmington are going to be paying more in their homeowners are going to be paying more in their taxes than our white counterparts in Wawasset Park and places like that, percentage-wise. We should be better. And that's what I said last night. We have to do better. And a program like this is just not fiscally responsible for the city. A better thing, if you truly want to stabilize neighborhoods, you want to make them better, is workforce housing. Increase the amount of down payment that we can put down on a house. And then our officers who do come in here can also build equity when they are going into that house. I would rather take that $75,000 and put it towards a down payment for a house to help stabilize a block, have an officer living on your block, or another city resident. And again, I think that's better than a car that's going to depreciate right away, that's going to cost a lot of maintenance. Trump is imposing a lot of tariffs right now, which means parts for these cars are going to skyrocket. And then also on top of that, gas prices are rising.
Yeah.
It's about $70.
On day one, everything is going down.
Yeah. Okay.
Only I alone can solve this.
Gas, barrels of oil are about $70 a barrel right now. Gas is skyrocketing, and all these vehicles, because they're city vehicles, would get gas from us, right? From taxpayers would pay for their gas 100%, regardless of what they're doing, whether they're on official business or going to Dunkin' Donuts, grocery store, laundromat, whatsoever. So again, this is adding a huge fiscal impact on us.
Well, I'm very grateful for the healthy debate that you all had, but I wanted to bring it up because I want you to be to hear some of the things that are being discussed. I don't have an opinion other than I do have an opinion. My opinion is that we need to make sure that we're making our community safe, and getting a car, I'm not too sure if that's going to help us with recruitment, because most people don't want to live in the city. Why? Because the city resident neighborhoods are not stabilized. Coby is offering something that I kind of agree with, and we don't agree on everything, but I kind of agree with it. If we start stabilizing the community, it'll make people want to, and to have it, and then it'll help with the crime, because if I live there, I'm not going to let, like what happened in Southbridge this week, that troubled me tremendously. Had me to call to have some conversations with some of the officials, because when you live there, it's different. There's a different investment. A car, it comes and go. Right. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
How you doing, community? I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm here today to talk about Community Staffing Agency. I am the owner of an educational staffing firm. And what we do is we staff all the schools in Delaware with substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, janitorial, and even substitute nurse. So if you have a school and you need our services, please contact me. But also, if you're in the community right now and you're looking for a job, please find me. And the way you can find me is by visiting communitystaffingagency.com, but also get into my direct line, 302-252-8982. Please contact me, please reach out. If you need assistance with your school, or if you're looking to get into school, Community Staffing Agency is the place to be.
And we're back. Coby, what's going on with the Coby Corner? And you know you're going to be having a lot to talk about.
So I want to start off with something that was historic. U.S. Senator Cory Booker, the senior senator from New Jersey, broke the record for the longest speech ever delivered in the Senate. and some people may be saying, who cares? It's just a little speech. No, he stood on the floor of the U.S. Senate and talked for 25 hours and 4 minutes. He trained for this. He prepared his body for this over a few days. But again, he took to the floor, not because there was an actual bill on the floor, but because the reconciliation is going on, right? And he wanted to hold up the legislative business in a Republican-controlled Senate. It's not much that we can do. And again, I just want to point this out. The rules of the Senate is for such speeches requires the speaker to remain standing the entire time. So 25 hours and 4 minutes he stood. And forego bathroom breaks.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about.
So again, he was able, he prepared his body for that so that he could stand there. But I do want to point out that the previous record was held by Democrat turned Republican Storm Thurmond from South Carolina, who spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes against the Civil Rights Act. So Booker overtook that record.
Good.
And again, he said when he took the floor, he said he would speak for as long as he physically could. And he began his speech at 7 p.m. On Monday and kept going until 8:06 on Tuesday. He's 55. He's the 4th ranking Democrat in the chamber. And again, the whole time he was reading letters from constituents and people who had lost their job from the federal purge, as I call it, constituents who was going to lose money from Medicaid or SNAP benefits being cut. He talked about how harmful these policies are, immigration policies. But then, of course, 25 hours is a long time to talk. So again,
But I do appreciate him continuously referencing John Lewis.
Yes,
I thought that was just very powerful. And he put him in. He injected him at some really good times.
He also discussed some other things like sports, reciting poetry to fill some of the gaps. But then also, our members of the Senate, both Chris Coons, our senior senator, and our new junior senator, Lisa Blunt Rochester, both joined in and asking him questions to give him a break from talking. And again, it gave him an opportunity to rest his voice. His good friend who was superintendent of Denver schools when he was mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Senator Michael Bennett from Colorado, got on the floor and said, you're my friend and everything. I can ask you a 5-minute question or I can ask you a 5-hour question, depending how much time you need to rest your voice. And it showed that certain members of the caucus was coming to support him. Not all of them.
We noticed that.
We didn't see John Fetterman.
You're not going to, but he got to go. I did not mean to say that loud, but he has to go.
Yes.
He is going to. He's a private Trumper. And what people got, and I'm from Pennsylvania, so I'm very much follow the local politics there too. But he's outweighed his time. We empathize with him. We sympathize with him when he was going through all that he went through. Now he's giving us something that we are not interested in. He has to go.
So again, that was just a very historic feat to see of Cory Booker and something that gave energy to so many people out there. But again, we still have a lot to deal with. And just later in that week, and into my next point.
Wait, before you go to your next point, I do want to ask the question.
Yes.
So if a person asks a question, could he sit down while they ask the question?
No, he had to stay standing.
Okay.
But he didn't have to talk during that time.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I was in and out. I didn't stay the whole 25 hours.
Yeah.
Trust me, when I was in and out. And I couldn't remember because I did hear people asking questions, but I couldn't tell whether he was sitting, standing, or running.
No, he was still standing.
Okay, very good.
Or, walking around, little stretching his legs and everything. But again, this is, that was a very tiring and
yes, on his body. But and I learned something about him. He's a former athlete. I did not know he played football
at Stanford.
I did not know that, and that's really interesting to learn that. So he understands stamina, and I thought that was really, really, really good on his part. Now, how many Republicans were in the chamber as well?
Most of them left, except for the ones who were presiding over the chamber.
Who had to stay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Yep. You can go to the next
one. So next, I want to talk about actual Trump tariffs.
Okay.
Trump announced 10% tariffs on imports of any country into the USA, and even higher for over 60 trading partners. Right, for the European Union, 20%. For China, 34%. Japan, 24%. Vietnam, 46%, South Korea 25%, Taiwan 32%, India 36%, Switzerland 31%. A lot of these are our partners.
Yes.
And he put these huge tariffs on it. Cambodia 49%. And again, this is going to impact us because now countries are hitting back.
Yeah. And they should.
Just this morning, China hit back with their own 34% across the board tariffs directed at us. That means anything, all those clothes that you have that had the little tags made in China, they're about to go up.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I saw something on CNN yesterday. I was going to take my shoe off, but my shoes are not made. The ones I got on today, they weren't made in China, but they were made in Italy. Mm-hmm. So everything is going up.
Yep.
Everything is going up. And the big question I wanted to ask you is, how do you think this is going to turn out?
It's tanking the economy right now. The stock market dropped another 5% today. Trump also announced earlier that he's adding a 25% tariff on imported cars and car parts. City Council. And he's also threatening 25% tariffs against any country that buys Venezuelan oil, which again is countries are just going to continue to hit back against us for doing that, right? This is going to slow pharmaceutical production. This is going to slow semiconductor production, which is again going to lead to more backlogs. This is why we have high car prices right now. This is sparking a global trade war. And Trump wants to thrive in this. He thinks he will thrive in this. The Dow tumbled by 1,000 points.
Wow, that's a lot.
This morning. Mm-hmm. That's 5% this morning because of China hitting back against us. So again, I know they're probably going crazy on Wall Street right now. Did
you see the close of Wall Street on Thursday? And Giuliani and that group that was there, that was the folks who what's the name of that media company? I can't think of the name of the media company that they were. Breitbart. I said, we are going in the tank when you got a result in Breitbart doing the closing of the Dow. Yep. It was just out of control. It's just sad. We laugh, we smile, we joke about this, but this is so serious because it's going to put us in a recession that's going to take years for us to come out of. Now, this is my prediction, but go ahead.
And now Trump is on social media attacking China, saying that China played it wrong. They panicked. One thing they can't afford to do right now is the statement that he just tweeted about 5 minutes ago, or Truth Social, whatever you call those messages. The stock market is in disarray today. People, I believe it was $5 trillion was wiped out when he first rolled this out in a Rose Garden. It's even more money. And then on top of all of that, he's worried about who's going to buy TikTok. So his priorities is all in the wrong places right now. And it's going to lead to, again, inflation going up, higher prices on things. And again, this is what the president does have influence over. And tariffs are just a fancy word for taxes. That's all it is. And, we're not going to raise taxes. We're not going to raise taxes. That's what this is. It's going to cost everyone more money out of pocket, no matter what. And that is the sad part. Next, I want to talk about some state level stuff. So the Delaware General Assembly has decided to pause their building of a new parking lot down in Dover. And that's because of the tax cuts that is going on here in the state from the federal
Government.
from the federal level, right? So because they're doing that, and it is the bond time, right? So right now it's capital improvement committee meetings. The rest of the General Assembly is on break so that they can mark up where they want to put their capital dollars. So we're looking to see where investments will go. But as of right now, they have scrapped the plan for the legislative expansion, which is a multi-million-dollar expansion to build a parking garage as well as an underground tunnel to get them to the actual General Assembly building, the Capitol building. They also are looking at how they can save some additional money, especially with $38 million in federal healthcare cuts coming our way as well, too. How they can save some additional money to help fill that gap on that end as well, too. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see what projects actually get funded this year. There's a lot of projects that still need to get funded. But again, this saves us about $122 million that was slated to go to that project.
Gotcha.
So we shall see where this all goes.
I would just suggest to those of you who watch us, and if you know of any CEOs, especially of nonprofits, that you begin to really tighten your belt up a little bit and tighten your numbers up. While Trump is in office, don't take for granted that the money that you have been enjoying will continue. I'm watching every day how if the stock is going down to the level that is going and the states are not receiving the funds from the federal level like they used to, we have to start tightening up. Everybody, churches, everybody, we got to tighten up. I promised Zion Fair that we will eat every day, we will wake up every day, and we will smile every day. But if you're not properly planning, faith without works is dead. If you're not properly planning, deciding to buy vehicles for the whole fleet for the city of Wilmington, if you're not properly planning, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get caught off guard, and it's going to really cause people to suffer much harder. It's time to be a little conservative with our dollars now. And I really want to just say that to those, especially CEOs, those of us who run organizations, those of us on boards, it's time to start elevating the conversation. Let's tighten up these while we get through these 4 years. Once we get through this 4 years, happy days will come, but I don't think it's going to last 4 years, to be honest with you. I don't want to get into that because I don't seem like I'm a conspiracist, but I don't think it's going to last 4 years.
In the last part, I just wanted to give some updates on City Council. We are in budget season right now. Our next budget meeting is this Monday, or budget hearing is this Monday. It is the Finance and Revenue budget presentation. So again, if you're interested in that, especially with your taxes potentially being raised, not raised, but taxes are going up because of the reassessment, please come out, give public comment at that meeting. It starts at 4:30 and goes until 8 p.m. And then the next one is April the 9th, which is the economic development, or it's the city auditor and public works department hearing. So again, those are the next two. I invite everyone to come out. It's at the Wilmington City Council Chambers, 800 North Friend Street, first floor, or ground level floor right in the chamber. Please come out and join us. But also I wanted to talk about some of the legislation that we've been working on. I have sent a resolution down to Dover asking them to allow us the ability to caucus, very similar to how they do down there. They have 4 different caucuses down there. The Democratic, the Republican, and both the House and Senate, so that they can meet and discuss legislation to get on the same page, have long debate if need be, so that we could keep the floor debate respectful and to the questions. Sometimes you just need to fight it out. Yeah, that's the nice way of saying it. Fight it out. Also,
no, for those who watch this, just so they get understanding. So you're saying you've sitting down legislation because you want to be able to caucus as a Democratic group in the City Council of Wilmington, so that y'all can argue out, discuss, debate, talk about the pros and cons of whatever legislation that are coming before you, so that when you are standing in front of the people, y'all can have pretty much an understanding of what's going on. But right now, y'all can't caucus.
Right, we can. If more than 3 of us who are on a committee or meeting together, that violates FOIA.
Right.
So it limits who you can talk to, when you can talk to. This would be a very structured meeting, very similar to how they do at other levels of government.
Okay.
In other city councils, this happens in Philly. This happens in cities that have councils our size. So again, this just allows us to go forward and work better together. Okay. We also sent a resolution down sponsored by Councilwoman Michelle Harley, to give off the months of August and December, and exempt us from the 2 meetings per month. And then also there was another resolution sent down from Councilman James Padola, asking for Wilmington to be included like other municipalities, and that the council would have to give consent and confirm the members that the mayor appoints to the planning committee.
I like that. See, that's the first one he did. I like.
Yes.
I like that.
So, we all signed on, all co-sponsored, all of them.
Yeah.
So again, hopefully they move very quick down Dover. We got them down there earlier than what we usually do. In the past councils, they've waited till June, and June's a very busy and chaotic month down in Dover, because they're done on July 1. So again, that's some of the stuff that we've been working on. Outside of that, we had some ordinance. There is going to be a meeting on April the 16th to discuss the zoning for permits for recreational marijuana uses, cultivation, all of them. And that's going to be in certain commercial districts, manufacturing districts, and waterfront districts. So I encourage everyone to come out to that special community development and urban planning meeting, which will be April 16th. It's also it's a budget hearing night as well too. We're going to partner it up with the City Treasurer's Office and Office of Information and Technology, IT. And then right after that, we will have our community development and urban planning. I call it CDUP, but community development and urban planning meeting. So again, I just encourage everyone to come out to that and join in. If you have any concerns about the zoning for where these businesses can go, this is the meeting to come voice your opinion at.
Okay. Well, and before we let you go, is there any updates yet on the senior high-rise situation?
Yeah. So we are still collecting emails. We're collecting phone calls right now. We have reached out to most of the owners of these buildings, whether it's Wilmington Housing Authority or private owners. For a few, it is very hard to find any contact information or the actual holding on the parcels. Who owns it is a LLC, and there's no contact information. And Delaware protects the actual stakeholders in an LLC, so it's been hard for us to find that information. We've talked to the property managers already, but actually getting the owner's information has been very difficult.
For City Council.
For City Council.
Wow.
So we are diligently working through this. Again, like I said in that meeting, this was not going to be an overnight fix, but it is top priority for me and members of my committee, and we are trying to work to bring more attention to this, but also get some of these extremely important issues fixed.
Yeah. Well, Coby, it's always delight getting to that Coby corner because you have so many things you talk about. You could be Cory Booker and spend 25 hours going through. But I thought that some of your updates are just, in fact, all of your updates are really good. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about the 2025 NCAA basketball championship. I have a prediction. At 6 o'clock on CBS, it's coming on. I have a prediction, and I want to see what you're thinking about. Okay. And then next week, we're going to see who was right. We'll be right back. I'll be trying to get those little fillers, but that's what. So who do you have? Who do you believe Hey, this is Pastor Cory, pastor of the East Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya, and anything you can do about it. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a real good conversation. I'm excited. Come on! Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Cory is on. And let's get after it.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution: freedom, justice, equality. The ACLU is leading the fight to protect our civil liberties. Together, we can protect and advance our rights nationwide, because we the people means all of us.
This land was made for you and me.
Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning. With the first did Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
And we're back. I promised that I was going to talk a little bit about the NCAA basketball Final Four. It's coming on at 6 o'clock, Coby. And it's exciting in my house because I am truly a basketball fan, but I'm also a Duke fan. You know our brother from Jesus, his name just slipped right out of my head, and he's going to kill me when he found out I couldn't think of his name right away. But one of the brothers from my 10th anniversary went down to Duke, and he had the coach and everybody to sign his basketball. All this still sitting in my office to the day. Duffy, Duffy, please forgive me. He's gonna kill me. Well, if you're coming, he comes every Sunday, so I can't even go at him at that. But Duffy had gone down and he had them to sign. I got my ball that's still sitting in. I've always been a Duke fan, even since college. Okay, now they're playing Houston, which is number one seed. Yeah. Okay, Duke, they saying it's a little shaky. Auburn and Florida. I project and I believe that Duke is going to take it, and Auburn, with Duke becoming the national champion.
Duke is going to put up a good fight. I really do. They have been playing very good, and I think honestly they probably have the best offense of the four remaining teams. I disagree with Auburn. I think Florida, again, it's not a Cinderella run really, but it's kind of for these that say from the Elite Eight on. Okay. Florida has been playing really good. And I think they're gonna upset Auburn. I don't think they'll win the championship. I think it'll be a heartbreaker. But I think they will have a good run up until the last few minutes. But it won't be a blowout. Duke and Houston is going to be a really good matchup. But I do think with Cooper Flagg being back, that gives them just a little the little nudge they need to get over that hill with Houston, and then they may win it. You know, I'm just saying. I hope
I feel
not.
a little haterade.
I'm not the biggest Duke fan.
I am.
But I do know they are the heavy favorites at this point across the board.
No, I thought Houston was.
No. So with Cooper Flag being back,
okay.
They become a favorite again. But again, we're gonna have to see, does Houston defense step up?
And it's just powerful.
And
one of our deacons,
defense wins championships.
Yeah, Deacon Locke called me and said, Pastor, I don't believe that that Duke is going to be able to do after watching the game that Houston played last week. Mm-hmm. And they did play. I mean, they played. I mean, they was in sync, strong. Duke sometimes tend to get a little comfortable, but I am very much a thorough believer. Now I believe it's going to be an upset and Auburn is going to win. And I'm going to tell you why. It was the end of the game after they had won. The media was trying to get them to say some interesting stuff about, the team they had played. You know what the number one, their point guard said? To God be the glory. And when he said that, I said, you're going to win one more round because I'm not going to let you win your last one. And that may be a little biased, I know, but I just believe that when you got an excellent team and God with you, I think you get the edge. Mm-hmm. That's just my religious beliefs. All right.
I get that. I will say, what's his name? Broomy. Yeah. He did get hurt at the second half for Auburn. He came down really hard on his elbow. And I believe it was his shooting arm. It was his dominant hand side. So we'll see. Maybe.
No, he got hurt. He went off the court and then came back on the court and hit a three with that injured hand. I pay attention to all the details, but it was the ending statement.
That's adrenaline, though.
Okay.
That's adrenaline. Once you on that bus ride back home and you really start feeling that your muscles and everything, that bruise down really started to take effect, you may feel a little different.
That's called being a real athlete, okay? These new rules they got in sports is crazy because those of us who played sports in college, in high school, we understand that you fight until you're done. And when I saw him come back on the court and then his after interview, all of that mattered to me because it spoke of character, to be honest with you. But we're going to see. I ain't worried about the 6 o'clock game as much. Although I want Auburn to win. And also my boy from Philly, what's his name? Charles Barkley is also a graduate. And I like Charles, even though he was not liked in Philly at one point. But I always liked Charles because he never got a championship and nothing else because that was during the era of our brother Michael Jordan. But I will say the Duke, if anybody out there, do not call my phone, do not call me, do not email me during that 9 o'clock game because I'm going to be glued to the TV watching every move. And then when we come back next week, we got to give an update.
Now, I will say also, the women's tournament this year has been getting more attention than the men's.
I'm sorry.
More viewers and everything.
Thank you for being...
and I think UConn is going to take it. I've been a UConn fan for a very long time.
Okay.
I would love to see a UConn versus South Carolina.
Thank you. And South Carolina win because she's from Raymond Rosen Projects like I am. Her sister, and she went to the same church and I'm very close with Dawn. So I want to see South Carolina take it all the way.
Dawn won it last year.
Again.
But no, they're two very dominant coaches, and Coach Jean and Coach Dawn, who have won multiple championships. Dawn has only one loss in the last, 4 or 5 tournaments. So again, that would be a great matchup. But it's South Carolina versus Texas, which is a matchup of the SEC. And then the UConn is up against the UCLA Bronze. I think UCLA's season's done. Texas, they have a good team, but I also think their season's done too. So again, I think it's going to be South Carolina, UConn.
And South Carolina's going to take it.
We'll see.
So once again, we have disagreed at the table, and I'm all right with that. We can disagree at the table. Duke and South Carolina is going to take it, and both of them are very, very special to me. Now, if I come next week crying, if I come next week sad, then you'll know that one of the two lost. But those of you who are watching us today, turn to channel 3 for your local channel or CBS and look at the game. It's fun. But the girls play on Saturday. So they would have already played. So they'll already know we will know their results.
Friday.
They play Friday.
Yeah.
Well, we will know their results before Sunday. But I'm sorry I didn't really bring up the girls. Although I pay attention. Look, girls play harder than the guys.
Yeah. In college basketball.
Yeah, in college basketball, yes.
I like the women's tournament better than the men's these last few years. I will say the men's have picked up the competitive spirit this year, though.
Yeah, well, because the refs stopped cheating, and if you got a certain name, you automatically gonna win. Now you gotta fight and you gotta win. You gotta win. So we're gonna look forward to it. Our time is up, and Coby, thank you for all you do for the community that you serve, and for those of you who continue to watch us week after week. For the people who see me in ShopRite, Acme. One brother saw us me in Acme, Coby, and said, "What happened to you and Coby last week?" And I said to him, Coby was busy. I didn't tell him I was busy too. But I'm glad that y'all are watching, and we pray that y'all will continue to be a part of our lives. Coby, is there anything left on your docket to be taken care of?
That's all I have for this week. Hopefully everyone has an amazing weekend and getting ready for next week. I will say April the 12th, next Saturday coming up is Community Cleanup Day. So if you are in Wilmington, make sure you get out and clean up your community. If you want to come help somewhere, you can meet us at the PALS, 3707 North Market Street. We will be out there at 9 a.m. to 11. And I'm treating everyone to my favorite food truck, Mo Better Chicken. Right after. So Mitch's Mo Better Chicken.
Oh, you gonna treat? I might have to come out and pick up a couple pieces of paper to make sure I get a piece of that Mo Better Chicken for the mobile food van. Well, Coby, thank you so very much. And we want to thank everybody for watching us. And this is all we have for you today. Until the next time, God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Sword with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Coby Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.